Okay,
Oh my
Robbie,
gosh.
so what just happened to us right now?
This is the first time ever that we recorded this season. And we got our audio and we weren't recording for YouTube.
One day maybe we'll have a full tech team that can make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do and hitting all
But
the
oh
buttons.
my gosh, look how good my loft turned out. This is where we record when we're at my home in Fontana, California. We're almost out of margaritas and we've kind of come to the conclusion.
Hot damn, you're listening to Frolicking Chronicles, a Frolic Inc. broadcast.
Oh, welcome to the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood podcast that we are so excited to finally be recording.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so was it 2019 when Quentin Tarantino's movie hit the theaters? It was a couple years ago.
It was a couple years ago, and we are big QT fans.
We
Our
are.
whole family enjoys the fandom, and now it has carried over to our boys and even my daughter. She was actually watching Pulp Fiction the other day, and I was like, yeah, okay,
Love
she's 13.
Pulp Fiction.
She can watch it finally.
Okay, so Brad Pitt has obviously been in a Quentin Tarantino film before, Inglourious Basterds, which we all
Really enjoyed that.
Leonardo DiCaprio, first time?
No, he was.
Oh no,
in
Django.
Yes,
Duh.
hello.
That's right.
Because we were all upset
That's
that
right.
Django didn't win Best Picture.
Picture.
The year it was nominated.
We won't name the movie that one. Okay. So we're excited because this is a period piece. And I can just kind of highlight Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is not a true story, but it does depict some famous real people. Questioning the story. What is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood about? It's a Pulp Fiction-esque movie that set in the late 1960s Hollywood and separated with thematic, does that sound right? Chapters. That's from history versus Hollywood.
Do you remember like local Southern Californian people freaking out like that they saw Brad Pitt and Leonardo around Hollywood?
No.
Oh yeah, I remember. And we were like, what? How? Out of all the times that we were not down on Hollywood Boulevard, passing by, all
And
the
hanging out. Because
we
have
do
jobs
on occasion.
and children and things. Okay, so no, I wasn't very much aware of that. This episode, I will say, does have spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, why haven't you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? And we're totally going to spoil it for you.
There's something wrong with you if you haven't seen it yet.
I don't want to say that. It is a long
I'm just
movie.
messing.
You know what? I remember Sophie and I went to see it, which was one of the first rated R movies I think I took her to the theater to see, because normally she doesn't like watching that kind of stuff with her parents. And then we were like, Paxton and Trent need to see it. Paxton. So then I went again, insisting Paxton and Trent saw it because I didn't want to spoil it for them. So I needed them to see it so I could then talk freely about all my favorite parts.
I do feel like that somewhat kind of happened here as well. Like we were trying to stay mum about things. But Eric and I thoroughly enjoyed that film, that as soon as it was able to purchase, we may have seen it twice in the theater. We enjoyed it so much.
I know I
it was
did.
just good writing and it was entertaining. And I always get hooked on things that you think could have actually happened in a way. I mean, of course, the ending was sensationalized, but men were different back then. That whole toxic masculinity. I mean, I kind of appreciated Brad Pitt being that guy.
Well, he was the hero.
And he was a war hero. So that is why this episode will be airing on Veterans Day. So
That's our
happy
link.
Veterans Day, everybody.
Yes. Which we're both veterans, so we're
both
very
vets, yeah.
excited about that. So, yeah. So Brad Pitt also won the Oscar. Right?
Yes.
Best Supporting Actor.
Yes. And
Mhm.
that was really memorable because he said, like, I would have fit you on that raft or something like that, which was a Titanic,
Reference.
Yeah, it was fun.
So funny. So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's the story I was reading. It's the story that Sharon Tate should have had. Now, those of you who aren't aware and are just listening because we appreciate all of our listeners, Sharon Tate was an actress that married a famous director back in the 60s and was viciously murdered by the Manson family. Charles Manson, hippie cult leader, basically is what he's been coined as. But the movie takes us back to that time period and visits Sharon Tate's life while having this juxtaposition storyline going on with the bromance of Rick Dalton
Yes.
and Cliff,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And so
It was a bromance.
it was the best bromance ever.
I love that that's how you categorized it, because that is so perfectly said. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a friend that's got you, like, everybody needs Cliff in their corner,
That's the truth.
right?
Get you a clip.
I mean,
Come on.
the dude kicks ass in so many ways.
He does. I mean, he was also rumored to have potentially killed his wife. Here is a spoiler. It is referencing Natalie Wood,
Right.
who went missing, on the infamous yacht that Christopher Walken was also on, but nobody
Yeah.
really talks about that.
Who was the actor? Robert Redford? That she was married to? Who was it?
No. I can't remember his name. I'll have to Google
Oh,
it.
shoot.
Yeah, but he was a famous actor.
Yeah, he was a famous actor,
You always,
and he
you
never...
always be asking me stuff.
because you bring up the story, so I'm like, okay, who was that? Yeah, let's
I'm gonna
Google
it. Okay. In the
No,
meantime, though, we know
because
Christopher
it's important to know
Walken's
that
on
it was a reference to Natalie Wood's true story.
And she was gorgeous.
of
by the
going
way.
missing off of a fishing boat near Catalina Island, I believe. And as soon as you say the actor's name, I'll be like, oh, yeah.
yes, because he also was in Austin Powers. He's
Oh,
that guy.
goodness.
He was that guy, right? Okay, let's see. Robert Wagner.
I got the Robert close. Classic me. Okay, so Once Upon a Time is actually said to be the story. It's bringing Sharon back to life. It's giving her life back. Her sister was very appreciative of the storyline and the film written by Quentin Tarantino. So if Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is about Sharon Tate in any sense, it's about giving her that life back and studiously not fixating on her death. To some extent, it's actually about leaving her alone. Tate's sister Deborah approved and endorsed Robbie and the film as a whole. And that was from EmpireOnline.com, September 19th, 2019.
Oh,
So I
wow.
thought that was cool. And actually, when Sophia and I saw it, she said, it was like, I was trying to kind of whisper in her ear of like how insane and tragic and scary everything was at that time for people, and just how that story even resonates with our childhood a little
Sure.
bit, because it was just so well known, right?
Yeah.
And everybody was scared.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, 1969, we're born in 74. I mean, it was still raw in many ways. And as this scary guy was very much in the news, because of the trial, and the guy we're obviously talking about is Charles Manson. And yeah, what a weirdo.
Well, but he was able to, charm a lot of people.
Mhm.
But
I knew
going
you were gonna say that.
to the movie, I like that they didn't really. He wasn't in it a lot.
No, and it's one of these things too on like 25 things you might have missed on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and they reference that.
Mhm.
He's really only seen in the film twice, though. When Brad Pitt goes to the ranch, is it Pussycat, the young
Yes.
girl? And she's like, oh, I wish that you would have, Charlie would have been here. You would have liked him. Or she kind of goes into this whole thing, which I didn't catch the first time that I watched it. Jaden or Logan actually my sons were telling me like, oh, you didn't hear that part?
Yeah,
It was
I
like-
think
said,
Cliff would have
"Oh."
kicked his ass and called
Yeah.
him out for being a weirdo.
Right.
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 So, okay, so Once Upon a Time in Hollywood also had some of the best, just the friendship between those two guys. It also takes you through a very successful TV actor trying to transition into a movie star, right?
Yes.
But then kind of doesn't have a great movie career, ends up having to take up Al Pacino on his offer to do
Spaghetti westerns.
spaghetti westerns,
Which
I
are
never-
really amazing, by the way.
Okay, I have not ever watched a
Yeah.
spaghetti western myself. But if you like stylizing and set design,
Mhm.
okay, this movie is also for you. And where we always peace, love, happiness. It does not glamorize the hippie.
No, it does not. And I think, honestly, that was probably being from California,
Right.
you know, born and raised. You know, we're often, you know, kind of
Fruits and
poked at
vegetables of the nation,
the
or what do you
land
mean?
of fruits and nuts, you know,
Yes,
kind of
fruits and
thing.
nuts, okay.
And so I actually kind of appreciated that he was like,
Fucking hippie motherfuckers. Bunch of goddamn fucking hippies. You want him to look like a hippie?
Fucking hippies came up here to smoke dope on a dark road, huh?
What did these perpetrators do?
Perpetrators, they're hippie assholes.
Oh, these fucking hippie weirdos, they broke into my house.
Is everybody okay?
Well, the fucking hippies aren't. That's for goddamn sure. Dirty fucking hippies.
You effing
so
hippies
fun.
while he's sipping his margaritas and, you know, don't interrupt my day. But then, but then I also want to say what I appreciated about Rick Dalton, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, was the self-analysis. When he fubs up his lines on set and he's like, you couldn't just have one whiskey sour, you had to have 12 or whatever it was.
That? Jesus Christ! Fuck! Shit. Damn it, Rick. I swear to God. Fucking lines. Embarrass yourself like that in front of all those goddamn people. Well, you were drinking all night. Fucking drinking again. 8 goddamn fucking whiskey sours. Fucking bullshit. You're a fucking miserable drunk. You fucking remembering your fucking lines. I practiced them and now I don't look like I goddamn practiced them. You're sitting there like a fucking baboon. 8 fucking whiskey sour. I couldn't stop at fucking 3 or 4 out of 8. Wow.
And I thought, okay, who can relate that, like, maybe I should have stopped at drink 1 and not had 3 that turned into 6 or whatever it was.
loved that.
Yeah, so
I love that.
I thought that was super fun, and I just thought, you know, seeing him kind of, I don't want to say full circle, but, you know, having Cliff as his corner man or, you know, cheerleader the whole time, and
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's just some epic scenes, like even when they're leaving the meeting with Al Pacino.
Right.
And he realizes that his career is over. Not
well,
where-
he's jumped the shark.
Yeah, pretty much. And he starts to cry. There's just some, I don't want to give it away because if you haven't watched it, it's just, there's some really great
Okay,
one-liners.
but we said there were spoilers.
Okay, the one where he's like, don't cry in front of the Mexicans.
It's official, old buddy. Well, it has been.
What are you talking about? What did that guy tell you?
Told me the goddamn truth is what he told me.
Whoa, whoa. Hey,
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that.
here, put these on. Don't cry in front of the Mexicans.
Okay, that's kind of racist.
So
but
funny. But it was funny. And I think
By the
that's
way,
what I
everybody, we
appreciate.
do have Mexican culture in us.
Oh,
I appreciated that he didn't want him to cry in front of anybody, and then
I
gave
thought
him
that
his
line
sunglasses.
was hilarious.
But
because
why?
it was depicted of the time period. And once again, it's Quentin Tarantino's magic of just putting it on paper. He just does it.
Yeah, I can't say it resonated to me in that way. What I liked is basically, you're Rick Dalton, you don't cry in front of anybody, and gave him his sunglasses. And I thought that was really cool. But then,
That's
at
very
the end,
nice and politically correct of you, T.
That's what I feel like that was for me. And then I like that Cliff asked for his sunglasses back when they got to the house.
Oh, yeah. It's like, okay, motherfucker.
yeah.
It
So,
was cute.
but
They definitely had some fun banter. Just going back onto the spaghetti westerns, though, really, really fantastic. If you guys have not seen the film Once Upon a Time in the West, that is probably one of the most famous spaghetti westerns.
Okay.
Definitely some vibes. I believe Quentin Tarantino is a huge fan of Sergio Leone. So you will often hear undertones in the score that actually kind of vibe that Italian spaghetti western. So check it out.
I'm gonna have to look this up. But some of there's one line that I hear a lot of people say sometimes. It's just, and I don't know that it's directly related to the movie, but like, oh, that's fair. you know, when you have a talking point or, you know, an opinion about something, well, okay, that's fair. Fair enough was one of the top quotes that people liked. I don't even remember who said that. But I have to say at the end of the movie, okay, wait, Logan brought up a really good one. There's a lot of booze references in this
that
movie,
one was fun.
which I could appreciate about that era, right? Everybody made a good cocktail or had good cocktails. And there's a scene where Brad Pitt's character is going to have some acid or something on a cigarette.
Yeah, it's like a dipped cigarette. And he's like, I'm going to leave this here, but if you want to have a hit off of it, go ahead. I don't mind. And then he says the line.
Yeah. My booze don't need nobody. And I think that's true. If you know what the crossfaded is, that's like a whole mess, right? But okay, so if we're talking about the movie and the way it ends is how I felt, and that's what I was trying to say earlier with Sophia when I was trying to explain to her about the story, was I was so happy with the ending because it's how I wish it would have ended in real life.
Oh gosh, it didn't leave me with a good feeling. It left you with a good feeling?
Yes.
No,
Sharon Tate didn't die. That's the best feeling.
But they were alluding to in a way that was, in at least how I interpreted it, because they dressed her in the same clothing that Sharon Tate actually died in. It left an eerie impression for me. Like, oh shoot, Rick Dalton, all of them are going out. Like if other hippies came.
No, I didn't get that. For me, it was like this gal says, it was giving her life back, and that's exactly what
That's really
what I felt.
When I first watched it, I didn't have that vibe. I felt like an eerie undertone because Quentin, being Quentin, very detail oriented, had them wearing the clothes that she was pictured in the papers, and so that kind of the whole article just was flashing in my head at the end of the film.
Well, I didn't research all that stuff when I was watching the film, but for me, I felt like it ended on a note that was like her life wasn't over and she was going to have her happy, sweet life that she deserved.
I hope that is what it is. That would be great.
I don't know. What does QT say about it? We don't know. Okay. Anyways,
there's a YouTube video
this
on
is
it,
what
I'm
her,
sure.
her sister said also, so I felt like I understood the assignment. I don't know. Do you hear that joke?
I do.
It's overplayed.
But I'm just telling you that for me, watching it in the theater without doing extensive research, I remember the pictures.
Yeah.
So that's that was with me. So as soon as I saw them in the driveway and her come out in that, baseball tee jersey with the numbers, I was like, oh shoot, I didn't leave with a good feeling.
Oh no, I totally was like, oh, she's gonna live her dream now. It's great. I don't care for her husband.
But I guess too, that being said, we know how the real picture was. So I mean that's
and some people actually didn't like this film because it didn't end truthfully. So
I kind of left it. Like I said, I felt like it left this eerie kind of vibe that they may not survive the night. That was what I walked away from the theater.
Wow. Yeah. No, not me. That was lost on me if that's the case. Totally. But what I did like is that Cliff's character okay, so you guys, the movie happens and guess what? QT's film, this one was not I kept waiting for a lot of sexiness. I kept waiting for a lot of goriness, and none of that happened. None of the true sexual scenes or anything happened. I was worried about that when I was with Sophia in the theater. But then
you mean when they were like at the ranch and stuff?
Whether it was the ranch or the Playboy Mansion or wherever it was, I kept just waiting for something like that. So in that aspect, I was like, wow, this is cool. Like, it's obviously a sexy movie, but it's not in that way. And then, but the goriness does not happen till the end. And
it's still hard for me to watch the redhead scene with Brad Pitt.
Yes.
Till this day, that scene is very hard on me.
Yes, it's brutal. It's graphic. It is. He was not to be trifled with, and he, again, spoiler. Maybe I won't give away all the details, but it's amazing what he did.
You guys, once again, if you have not seen it, you need to see it because Brad Pitt is amazing, amazing. But I do like. I'm sorry, it is what it is. It's that macho, but he was being tested. It's not like he went out looking for trouble in any of the scenes. He wasn't that guy looking for a fight or anything. The fight
And what
brought
we're
to him.
yeah, so what we're
And he
talking
handled
about
it.
is the hippies, just like in the real Sharon Tate film, end up on her street, and they were supposed to go to one house. They ended up at Rick Dalton's house.
They entered the wrong house.
Yes. And what was awesome about Brad Pitt is earlier in the film, he had ended up at Spawn Ranch looking for his friend or dropping off the hippie girl, Pussycat, and then was like, wait a minute, this is so-and-so's place. And so he got kind of alarmed. And so, I mean, if you like seeing Brad Pitt kick some ass, this is the movie for you.
Movie for you.
Okay.
Without giving it all away. So watch
Yeah.
the film. Okay, so let's talk about some other parts of the film. Okay, obviously it's about Sharon Tate. We have the Charles Manson dynamic. There's the occult, undertone.
Yes.
So shall we talk about the occult or talk about our drinks? Because I'm about to sip on mine pretty soon here.
Oh yeah, the drinks. But okay, we don't want to give away the whole film, but there is this scene with Brad Pitt and a flamethrower. So if you want to get into your drink, I think it's very clever.
Okay, well, first of all, the opening scene is not too much craziness, but it goes into how he does a film and he's basically taking out some Nazis, And my drink is called the flamethrower, and it actually has a pretty good scene or two in the film, right? And we are about margaritas. In fact, both Samantha and I came to this wonderful birthday plan for our husbands, and we took Eric for his birthday. So we like to do our double date thing. We took Eric to El Coyote, which unfortunately was Sharon Tate's last place to have a beautiful dinner. And then for her husband's birthday, we went to Casa Vega, and of course, we had the margaritas.
Both two famous Los Angeles Mexican food restaurants that neither of us have been to. El Coyote is located in Los Angeles on Beverly Boulevard. Been serving it up since 1931.
That's pretty
and
amazing.
And then you have Casa Vega since 1956. And I believe Rafael Vega, the son, he wanted to recreate a restaurant that his parents had, Cafe Caliente, over at Alvera Street.
Okay.
Yes. So then he brought this restaurant, Casa Vega, to Sherman Oaks area, right?
Let me tell you, also, sometimes you make plans to go visit these film locations or these destination spots because of the historic aspect. And you're ordering the food and we're kind of prepping ourselves that it's probably not going to be our favorite, but we're here for the ambiance and the experience. Both of those restaurants, really good food.
Enjoyed the food at both of them.
We cleaned our plates.
Enjoyed the margaritas at both of them.
Though my flamethrower is gonna.
Well, the flamethrower.
It's gonna give them a run for their money.
Where's your recipe from?
All right. Actually, it's from the contour.com. Is that how you say it? Contour? Contru?
Oh, it is from the actual
it's actually from the Contru
Oh.
website. Check out these beautiful drinks.
See, we've already kind of started sipping them. Our listeners, they're about 3/4 of the way filled.
To Quentin and Brad and Leo.
I'm dripping on my notes. It is, you're right. It's a condensation, but the level of sweet, I wouldn't say tang, spicy.
So this beautiful beverage, by the way, I think it just pictures so well. It is 1 ounce Contru, 2 ounce tequila. Thank you, Christina Holiday. I used the one you gave us for my birthday. Let's see, 0.75 ounces of fresh lime juice, a half a cup of whole strawberries, and a 1/4 ounce of simple syrup. And then, to your liking, you put however many slices of jalapenos that you would like. So for us, we did 2 because
we left a little bit of the membrane in, not all of it.
Not all of it, and a couple seeds, a couple seeds as well. So for us, we just used 1 slice per person, and then another slice for our garnish, as you see there. I thought it was just so clever and beautiful of a drink.
Good. It was refreshing.
Your crushed ice, which I got to
limes
use
from my tree.
Yeah, fresh lime juice, and you basically blend it up in the blender like you do a normal margarita. And by the way, the glasses that we're using, I found on a
That's
thrift
what I was
store
gonna
run.
say. Those
You
glasses
can't
are
really
so
tell
cool.
here,
They're
but there's a green avocado tinge to them, and the embossing, very retro, late 60s, early 70s, I would say. So I'm so happy we finally got to use them.
And the straws in them are made from avocado pits, so they are supposed to break back down into the environment.
I love that because I'm one of those people that are always like, no, I don't need a straw.
Yes, that's so great.
So this is our new favorite margarita.
It's
Would
so
you say?
good. Yeah, because my girlfriends and I sometimes will go get the skinny jalapeno margaritas at Ola at Pacific City in Huntington Beach, when we go for our mom happy hours and stuff. So I do like it, and I just love the fresh strawberries. There was so much freshness in this one. So
yes,
I think that's the difference. That's the level changer.
It's not a syrup. It's not and even the simple syrup. Samantha whipped it up on my stove like really quickly. She knows it by heart. And
equal parts sugar and water. Boil it till it dissolves and becomes one.
It was so perfect. It was so perfect. Anyway, watch our reel on our Frolic Inc. And then of course we'll put something on Paranormal Cocktails. But it's called the Flame Thrower, and it's from the
good job. Good job, sis, on finding that. That's a hit. Okay, so do you think that you would ever join a cult?
No.
Okay, so the truth is, a lot of people think they won't. But actually, like 67% of cult members have actually gone to college and surpassed 12 years of schooling.
Isn't that scary?
Okay, yes. Smart people end up joining a cult. It's easy to dismiss cult members as gullible or simply stupid.
Okay, but here's the thing, too. Just because you get a higher education doesn't mean you are very highly educated. Have you ever heard this phrase? You can be book smart, but common sense, you're like basically dumb.
Well, there's people that just don't have street smarts. Totally.
And by the way, plug your kids' ears. There's an expression, and my husband taught it to me. He's like, they're smart dumb fucks. It's like they have a degree, but they're not very, smart. So I have to believe.
Some people just spend all the time in the fraternity partying and not really actually studying the books.
I have to believe that these cult people are not feeling fulfilled in their...
Well, there's something to that, yeah.
Like,
I feel, though, that anybody, even if you go to college or what have you, if you're not always learning or always continuing to evolve, then you end up stuck with your degree in 1942. I don't know where you if you graduated, like it doesn't necessarily mean that you're continuing your education past that. So I just think that people need to evolve and keep learning.
Well, and there's definitely some kind of mental points that probably each of these people have some kind of same dynamic as to why they end up in a cult.
Well, there is some. Okay, but I was going to just say, so however, this couldn't be further from the truth. This person says, I have bad news for you. This is from thedailybeast.com, updated in May of 2021. Barbara Gergel. I have bad news for you. If you are a happy, well-adjusted person with loving family and a degree, then congratulations. You are exactly the kind of person that can be recruited into a cult.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Wait, say that one more time.
Barbara says, okay, I
are
have bad news for you. If you are happy, well-adjusted person with loving family and a degree, congratulations. You are exactly the kind of person that can be recruited
we're
into
good.
a cult.
We're good. We have enough dysfunction to last.
Well, yeah, that's what I thank you. Thank you, childhood. Yeah, so anyways, then Dr. Janya Lalique, a socialist, renowned cult expert, says a cult is more likely to look like an overly enthusiastic self-help group that takes over your schedule or a multi-level marketing company that makes you drive your friends away. No one joins a cult on purpose. So, it just kind of happens, right? And so, I want to tell you that, but everyone is vulnerable to being manipulated into joining a cult. So, a psychologist, Steve Akel, says, in fact, they specifically look for people who are idealistic and optimistic. A 2017 study found that 61% had more than 12 years education. Cults need members who are passionate about self-improvement, about the betterment of mankind, about living a more fulfilling life. Isn't that what we all strive for? So they kind of zero in on that, okay? But like you were saying, and I thought that Pussycat actually filled this role. Charles Manson, the year he got out of jail, 1968, he was in California, actually.
Okay, this tripped me out because I don't think I registered what I think you're about to say.
So when Ronnie and I were stationed in the Coast Guard and we left the ships, Ronnie got stationed in Terminal Island, San Pedro, California, which has a federal corrections
Yeah, you used to
jail
run
on
that
it.
front gate all the time.
Yes, well, Charles Manson used to live right across the street. Don't worry, girl. It
That
wasn't
tripped
when you
me
were
out.
there, but it's still a fascinating, he did two stints
No,
there.
I mean, nobody talked about it if they knew.
Yeah. So Manson, when he got out of jail, he set up shop and began building his Manson family cult, attracting loners and runaways, mostly young, white, middle-class, educated women. Yeah. So I don't know if Pussycat in the movie went to jail, but yeah. So I think that's just really fascinating. There's so much more, but basically psychologists call that it's just a love bombing. So survivors of cults, they'll say, "Oh, we we were accepted." Like, I guess it's maybe looking for the accepted, and we felt like people were caring for us. And then you got the community, the commune, right? Like,
Well, yeah, and I
everybody's-
will say that we did watch the Diane Sawyer interview. We had that on the background as we were making this cocktail earlier, getting the ingredients together, which, by the way, it's rimmed with tahini. And Diane Sawyer basically kind of talks about that. It was with the redhead one. I can't remember her name in real life. But she basically said that she was looking for love. And that Charles Manson, he made them feel loved. Like I think master manipulator. I mean, he told them what they wanted to hear.
That's what. Yeah, exactly. It's easy. Yeah, you manipulate people. You just tell people what they want to hear, and that's what he did. And so, but I do want to emphasize or make a point here that I think you might have said occult, and actually, I think the way cults are, they're not all necessarily satanic cults, right? This was a
That's
hippie
good
cult.
that you're saying that. Yeah.
Okay, he made. In the movie, it's made to be like, I'm the devil and something, whatever they said to Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt's, it was something dumber than that or something. I don't know. Like, it was hilarious.
There's some great lines.
Yeah, there's some great one-liners in there. But I feel like we automatically gravitate to, it must have been satanic. And also, the director that Sharon Tate was married to had just had Rosemary's Baby. So I don't know if everybody just kind of
Roman
gravitated to
Polanski.
that. But actually, Manson was trying to start and evoke a race war. That's why it said, kill pigs or whatever the reference was to police officers. He wanted to pin these murders on, like, the Black Panthers.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that stood out to me when you were
And
doing the research, and I
he-
said, "Oh my gosh, this guy was really trying to manipulate on huge levels."
Yeah, he was not really a devil worshiper. He just, wanted to incite this race war. He gave sermons on impending race war between whites and blacks. He thought their clan would emerge as saviors to the black race, later naming his deranged prophecy after the Beatles song Helter Skelter. And it's said that he kind of got more into this. He was schizophrenic. Then he was in jail. He actually learned
quite
the
a bit
guitar.
of his life, if not all of it. I mean,
Oh my
a
gosh!
good
At 12,
majority.
at 12 years old, he was already
It's
stealing money
actually
from
kinda
liquor
very
stores
tragic.
and stuff. Yeah, and so he, learned to play the guitar and wrote songs and all this kind of things. He befriended one of the Beach Boys, the Wilson guy. Got Wilson to let him and his hippies all move into his place and racked up $1,000s of bills and all sorts of stuff. The guy was able to get
people to do things.
Yes. And so, but I think it's interesting that QT focused more on the whatever Tex said in the film,
Yeah.
which, sometimes it's said that Manson said it, but it really was Tex in real life.
Yes.
And, we kind of gravitate to this cult thing, but we need to be Westboro Baptist Church, significant. People would call some religions, even ours, Catholic. They don't understand it, so they think it's more cultish, because of the different rituals we have. So when you think about the word cult, it's just more than the devil.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
By the way, can we just talk about the actor who portrayed Charles Manson in the film?
Yes, of course.
This is the first time an actor has portrayed Charles Manson 2 times in what we watch on television, which is Netflix. The same actor, Damon Harriman, Okay, he's Australian.
Okay.
He actually played Charles Manson in this film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but also in the Netflix. How do you say
Netflix.
it? Netflix. Oh my gosh, that
It's the
margarita.
margarita.
Netflix series Mindhunter.
Yes, that was so great. You guys
He was
at
great.
Had Paxton and I watched
Jaden
that.
was telling me that unlike in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the actor was wearing prosthetics. He only stands about 5'6". The real Charles Manson only stands about 5'6", so he's like a little guy.
Mm-hmm.
And in Mindhunter, they actually put the prosthetics on. Oh my gosh! Like you think you're looking at that guy. It's crazy.
It was that part.
So
was
you guys
creepy
look
to
up
me.
Damon Harriman.
But I want to suggest there was a Hail Satan documentary. I thought that was really worth the watch. Paxton and I watched it about the Satan Temple Church. Pretty fascinating to see how they developed that they don't believe in either God or Satan. But during their protests and all this kind of things, they hone in on that kind of sensationalist to get their point across. And then there was another one that I think that Jared Leto, he kind of helped put together. I think it was like Hell Love or something. I'll have to look in my notes. But
he's
that one
coming up.
was-
He's getting ready to come out in a film. I think that's a part of the one of these comic book films, and he looks good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which comic book character?
I'd have to Google it.
Oh, there we go, asking questions.
Yeah, she always does this to me.
But I also do it
if
to
I
myself
knew, I
because
would
just
say it. Just look up Jared Leto.
funny.
I'm gonna Google it.
Well, anyways, there was also another one, but it kind of got creepy. But it's just, to me, I want to say like sad, but you know, I
think it's Morbius.
and they fester on the vulnerability.
Okay, I'm gonna read it to you guys. Only because she brought up Jared Leto as an actor. He has nothing to do with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but he's going to be playing a character or a comic book character called Morbius. And anyway, watch that trailer. It's pretty fantastic.
Sounds like a Matrix thing. Morbius, Morpheus. What was the guy in Matrix?
You're asking me questions again?
Well, you're a huge Matrix fan.
My husband's a huge Matrix fan.
Was it Morpheus?
It's Morpheus.
Yeah, okay.
I'm messing with her.
Okay. I want to see my face on that. Okay. But anyways, so Manson, his followers later claimed that they hung on to Manson's every last word. So he brainwashed these hippies to go do his work because he wanted to basically get back at the Hollywood elites that basically
it scared him. You know, Frank Sinatra
didn't reward him for his musical talents. You know what I mean?
When this was happening, when the murders were happening, he freaked out people. Frank Sinatra left Hollywood for a while. Yeah, that Stephen McQueen guy was driving around with a gun.
That's looking for him or what?
No,
or
not looking for him, just being prepared that he might be attacked.
Yeah, so it was
because he
that
knew
was a
Sharon
big deal.
Tate. Yeah.
Okay, so definitely see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood if for anything, the bromance, because that
True
just
friendship.
was so
You guys
enjoyable.
notice a theme? In a lot of the book reviews like Dracula, and now we're talking about Once Upon a Time, we're telling you guys, man, the bromances and the friendships that men have, it's kind of cool for us to watch.
They're special. Why are we so fascinated with it?
I like it.
Yes, I do like it too. So true crime podcast. Do you listen to any?
I don't, but one of my Derby moms actually has recommended one to me, and she's really into it, so it's a thing.
Yeah,
it's a
do
thing.
you have it or no?
I think I downloaded it, but I'm not going to speak on it too much because I haven't actually.
Yes,
listened
that's a
to
good
it.
point. I think I don't personally listen to.
It's called My Favorite Murder.
Yeah, I personally don't. I haven't listened to actual
with Karen Gilgariff and Georgia Hardstark.
True crime podcast myself. I do know that Paxton has listened to a couple that were based in Staten area and had to deal with the trash facility.
Oh
and
my
stuff.
gosh, he did. Can you get those links?
I will,
from him?
and we
Because-
should put them in our show notes.
Yeah, because he did tell me about them, and I
Mhm.
haven't had a chance to listen to all of those.
Yeah, and then our girl Christine McConnell, she is addicted to
Our
those
girl.
true. Well, she don't know it, but
she don't know us.
she's an inspiration
I met
for
her
us.
once, though. I
You
met her
did, you
once.
did meet her.
I was
Yeah.
totally fangirling.
Yes, and she was, I think she was listening to one. She said about a San Francisco killer, so I guessed it was the Zodiac.
Probably the Zodiac.
Yeah, and so I think those are good. But I'll tell you what I did listen to, because I did watch it and I love it, and I'm so glad that you guys are on episode 4 on Hulu. Only Murders in the Building with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. And I'm telling you, Paxton and I enjoyed that show so much. Also, because of their friendship that happens.
Yes. Yes, it's so sweet. I am, we actually are looking forward to coming home and having our down nights and watching that show. We're really enjoying the dynamic of Steve Martin, Martin Short, right? And
Yeah.
Selena Gomez. Like, it's very
Yeah.
cool because the generational difference.
That's what I
and
enjoy
loved
about it, because I feel like sometimes young people or old people feel like they can't relate to each other. And here, what brought them together was they all listened to the same true crime podcast. And then there was a situation that happened in their building. And so then they end up all kind of on the same team trying to figure stuff out. And so it's rated 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It has
how
an 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb. Only Murders in the Building on Hulu.com is a comedy mystery, which I like it. That's why I love Scooby-Doo, man. Like those meddling kids. And here's just a little synopsis. 3 strangers share an obsession with true crime and suddenly find themselves wrapped up in one when a grisly death occurs inside their exclusive Upper West Side apartment building. The trio suspects murder and employs their precise knowledge of true crime to investigate the truth.
Yeah. We're really enjoying it. Really enjoying it.
I think, and you know what? Sometimes for me, it's just nice to have a show to go to that we're not flipping around. We still have like regular cable on top of all the streaming things.
I don't have regular cable.
You know, you're just flipping. And I like the streaming services for the most part because they don't have the commercials.
Yeah.
And like, boom, I'm watching that show. Boom, I'm watching
That's
that
real
show.
for me. That's why I have Discovery Plus.
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I pay
awesome.
the little
I watch
extra.
the Ghost Bros.
Listeners, be sure to comment, because we're going to be having one of our podcasts, it might be around episode 9, where we're going to take a poll as to what you guys would like us to talk about. And I will say this with the Zodiac Killer. If you haven't seen the film 7 Psychopaths, that's really a good one. And there's some reference to Zodiac. Yeah, I'll post about it to you. I'll give you the links because I think that would be another.
I'm gonna be in a show hole
episode
soon, so probably I need that. Yeah. So just a little bit more, just on these, this whole Once Upon a Time in the real story here. After 4 months, the cops linked the murders back to the Manson family, who had been living at Spawn Ranch outside of Los Angeles, when Atkins, who had been thrown in jail for another case, told other inmates she killed Sharon Tate. That confession, eventually combined with damning testimony from Watson and Casabin, brought the Manson family down. In the end, Manson was convicted as brainwashing leader of the group, found guilty of murder, sentenced to death, which was commuted to life imprisonment after California changed its laws.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. An abandoned capital punishment soon after. He died in prison at age 83.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he wasn't a Satanist, guys. He just wanted a race war.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys, if you've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, do tell. What was your favorite lines in the film?
I didn't even say. You know what?
Sis?
I can't say it because then I'll ruin the ending for everybody.
Oh yeah, you might.
Okay, so I
don't
can't
say
say
it.
that one.
But guys, let's have a conversation on it.
Yes.
At some point.
Let's do it. Okay.